Today we'll be having special guest Eli Matuzak talking about freedom.
Okay, so growing up as a white male in society, I haven't really experienced any of. I still wasn't able to get, some of the things that I wanted, and that one of those things was more freedom and having more of an ability to propose what I want to do and stuff like that, and being able to set my own limits and own curfew and stuff like that. And so eventually we had a really bad fight that I won't go into detail about, but that after that fight we all decided that we would work on changing ourselves, so that instead of fighting and yelling at each other whenever I did something bad, we would actually have conversations and do our best to not yell at each other and whatnot. And so we worked on that, and the more honest I was with my parents as well, the more they trusted me and the more freedom I was able to get. And so through communication and both sides accepting the fact that they're not doing everything they can to make sure that everyone's getting what they want, we were able to solve that, and I ended up getting to have more freedom. And so I think even though that's not really a great visual or about freedom and the injustices that come with freedom, it can still be like an analogy, because there are many people in the world today in certain countries where their freedom is extremely limited. And so if those two sides communicate and establish middle ground and work towards a common goal, then eventually I think that those people will be able to.
Special guest Katie Finnegan.
Freedom to me is the way that we are able to speak to each other, the way we are able to react to the things that we see, the places we go. While living in the United States, you are able to see freedom in a whole other light because of everything that we have. Growing up in a high middle class family, I'm able to take trips. I'm able to support things that other people, yes, they might support, but I can go places with these people. For example, charity trips. There's a lot that go to Africa. There's a lot that go to Europe, Central America, South America. I'm able to go on these trips because I have the money. And I think money and freedom can be very correlated. I also see what's happening around the world, especially right now, what's happening in Sudan with the mass killings and everything. And I'm just grateful to live in a country that, yes, we are very flawed in our freedom, but we have a lot more freedom than these places that can't practice their own religion, that can't go outside without the fear of being killed. Not only that, but I also see freedom in my life towards my friends in the way that they grew up versus the way I grew up. And me, again, living in a middle-class family or a high middle-class family, I get made fun of because these people did not grow up with the same freedoms. They had to work towards what they want. I have a friend that was actually homeless at the age of 4 and is still to this day not able to live on their own without the support of the United States, which to him, that gives him the freedom to do whatever he would like.
So the topic that I chose for this project was freedom, and I interviewed first Eli, and he talked about freedom within his family and how before he talked to his parents, he didn't have much freedom because they didn't trust him. But then as they grew the trust and sat down and talked about it, he was allowed to have more freedom, and once they found common ground and less hostile with each other, he was allowed freedom. And after I interviewed Katie, and she talked about freedom within a country, which the United States, and she talked about how when we are living here and we're raised by our parents who may have money or may not, we are automatically given freedom, and that allows us to travel and say what we want and just have freedom in general. And she talked about how other countries don't have a voice and are not given freedom because of the government there. But here in the United States, like she mentioned, one of her friends was homeless, but the United States picked him right up and gave him an opportunity. And that's, I think, the definition of freedom, just whatnot. And I think that with freedom, we can do so much more, and we're given the opportunities to help other people and to, find peace with each other and other countries. And I think that if other countries are allowed freedom, maybe the world wouldn't be such an angry place, because once you're given freedom, you don't lash out as much. So I think other ways that countries could maybe include freedom in their country is just people protesting, of course safe protesting, for the country, and have a voice and just raise awareness for all the issues they're going through, and maybe through that their government could realize that freedom is a thing you should just be given when you're born, because everybody deserves freedom and everybody deserves to have a voice and say what they want to do and do what they want to do. Freedom could be pretty much anything you think of, because freedom is just being allowed and having access to things. And freedom is such a special thing that I think most of us take for granted because we're just given it right away once we come into this earth. And I think that we need to realize that we are really lucky to have freedom, because not many people have it.